What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, three-time junior middleweight world champion superstar boxer, who is the undisputed junior middleweight world champion and widely considered top 5 pound for pound best fighters in the world if you truly are a boxing platform and a boxing blog. In superstar boxer Jermell Ironman Charlo, who has 35 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 19 wins by way of knockout, 33 years of age, 5'11" and a half with a 73.5-inch arm reach. Jermell Charlo gives his thoughts. He did an interview as he was featured on Big Boy TV platform, radio host and comedian Big Boy, and he asked Jermell Charlo what he thought, obviously, of July 29th, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena mega showdown that took place that involved his close friend, training mate, and stable partner in former unified 3-belt WBA, WBC, IBF welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who was widely considered to be now top 10 pound for pound best fighters in the world, in Errol the Truth Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. is 28 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 22 big wins by way of knockout, 33 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. He took on undefeated 3-division world champion, now former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, and the current reigning undisputed welterweight world champion, who is widely considered and widely recognized as the #1 best pound for pound fighter in the world, in Terrence Bud Crawford. Terrence Crawford is now 40 wins, no losses, no draw, 31 big wins by way of knockout, 35 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. And Big Boy asked Jermell Charlo, did you see that fight playing out like it played out? And Jermell Charlo said, no, I didn't think nobody saw that fight playing out the way it played out. And he stated, but you got to give Terrence Crawford a lot of credit, and you got to give him a lot of, praise for what he did. Acknowledgement, right? He didn't use the words praise, but acknowledgement, right? And credit for what he did. I respect what he did. He said, we saluted each other. Obviously, everybody talks about what took place in the 7th round. Now, if you don't know, Errol Spence got dropped in the 2nd round, twice in the 7th round, and then stopped in the 9th round. Now, in the 7th round, when he got dropped twice in the 7th round, every time he dropped, that being Terrence Crawford dropped Errol Spence, he made his way into the corner in which Jermell Charlo was sitting, and he was telling Jermell Charlo, you next. And he told Jermell Charlo, you will be a dude, right? And Jermell Charlo said, you can't rock with me. Now, I'm paraphrasing. They obviously use other words to describe what I'm telling you. But he said, you can't rock with me. And then he said that when it was all said and done, Terrence Crawford stopped Errol Spence in the 9th. He made his way to Jermell Charlo, jumped on the ropes, and he saluted Jermell Charlo, right? And Jermell Charlo said, we saluted each other. They have an understanding, right? Obviously, now in the interview, Jermell Charlo was asked about how he fared, because that's a fight Terrence Crawford is seeking out. And he said, I'm not Errol Spence. I respect Errol Spence. That's my brother. I appreciate Errol Spence, but I'm not Errol Spence, right? So we completely two different fighters. I'm a bigger guy fighting a higher weight class. And if he want to venture off into this safari, he can get what he's looking for, which is a wild line, right? And so I love the fact that, first of all, Terrence Crawford and Jermell Charlo have been trolling one another. And obviously, Terrence Crawford has obligation and a rematch clause with Errol Spence Jr. before he can do anything. He has to rematch Errol Spence Jr. And so he has to get past Errol Spence again. And it's going to be at junior middleweight, 154, higher weight class, tougher fight, tougher task. And so Jermell Charlo, he stated that my brother got to get his rematch and his just dues. If he can get past my brother, meaning Errol Spence, in a rematch, then we can make it happen. But Terrence Crawford trolled Jermell Charlo, who's daring to be great. Jermell Charlo is jumping up from 154 to 168. And he's going to challenge 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar boxer, who is the undisputed super middleweight world champion, widely considered by many to be one of the faces of the sport of boxing, in Saul Canelo Alvarez, who's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer with a record of 59 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 big wins by way of knockout, 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach at 33 years of age. They're going to fight September 30th, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena. So with that said, this is a huge fight, right? Huge fight, huge opportunity for Jermell Charlo, daring to be great. 2-division undisputed world champion. He wants to be undisputed simultaneously. But unfortunately for Jermell Charlo, the WBO, World Boxing Organization, has stripped him of his WBO title. So he is not undisputed at junior middleweight. He's just currently holding that title until he is announced September 30th against Canelo in the ring. Then he'll immediately be stripped. Australian undefeated star boxer Tim Tszyu will be elevated, and that's all she wrote. So Terrence Crawford, Errol, and Jermell Charlo have been going back and forth. Jermell Charlo had 2 press conferences, and he was very, very modest, very, very humble, very, very mellow in those press conferences. Usually he's high-strung. That's his personality, right? Aggressive and high-strung. And Terrence Crawford tweeted out, "I'm glad that, I'm rubbing off on him, and he's following my lead. There's no need to be high-strung. There's no need to be aggressive. You're going to fight. You can sell pay-per-views and sell a fight without all of the unnecessary aggression." And Jermell Charlo, he said, "What do you want me to do? What do you want? You got to, it's in me. It's just not necessary to pull it out." So they have, you can tell there's a mutual respect now between the two. That initially they respect each other because they're peers, and they respect each other because they both step in that squared circle, and they both risk their life to feed their families and entertain the fans, right? So with that said, they have a different type of respect, I believe, right now. Although, obviously, Jermell Charlo said that, I wanted to get in the ring and get some get back for Errol Spence. So if Errol Spence is not successful against Terrence Crawford in a rematch, I definitely want to fight against Terrence Crawford and get that get back for my brother, right? Now, obviously, Terrence Crawford recently stated that he's focused on now going to 168. He said his initial ceiling was 154 with Jermell Charlo. Now he's willing to go to 168 and challenge Jermell Charlo or Canelo Alvarez. And obviously Canelo Alvarez would represent a bigger fight and more realistic, because Terrence Crawford is 36 September. If Jermell Charlo wins, Canelo Alvarez is going to have a rematch clause, no doubt. But if Canelo Alvarez wins, it's more likely that a negotiation can take place for them two if Terrence Crawford really and truly wants to go to 168. But if Jermell Charlo wins, there's going to be a rematch clause. They'll fight probably in May, which means that Terrence Crawford will be out the ring from July 29th all the way to May of 2024. That's almost a year out the ring if he's waiting for the fight. So that's just too long, right? Now, obviously, he'll rematch Errol Spence in between that time. But again, if Canelo wins, Canelo is a bigger draw, right? Canelo is considered one of the faces of boxing. Now, it would be a shocker if Jermell Charlo wins. And if Jermell Charlo was able to, if he was able to beat Canelo and then fight Terrence Crawford without having a rematch clause, it would be, a big fight. But if he has to rematch him and then possibly lose, it's not the same. But if Canelo beats him, now he's considered, still one of the faces of boxing. And then Terrence Crawford fights Canelo with all the momentum he has, it's huge. As far as Jermell Charlo not being the same like Errol Spence, as he stated, I'm not Errol Spence. Their fighting style is eerie similar. Very, very similar fighting styles. They both come from two-time well-renowned trainer of the year and future Hall of Famer Derrick James. And you can see the similarities. They fight almost identical. Just the difference is Jermell Charlo is 5'11" and a half with a 73.5-inch arm reach. So he's almost 3 inches taller and has a 2.5-inch arm reach advantage. And he fights 7 pounds heavier, and he's bigger. He walks around heavier. And Errol Spence is a natural southpaw, and Jermell Charlo is an orthodox fighter. That's the difference. You can see the style of Derrick James rubbing off on both guys. You can see where Errol Spence, new fighter to man down promotions, lightweight undefeated title contender, star boxer Frank the Ghost Martin fights. You look at his fight 3 fights ago when he fought Duno, and then look at his last recent fight. You can see he is now transitioned to the Derrick James style. So the style of Derrick James is incorporated into these fighters. You can see it in Anthony Joshua when he fought against when Anthony Joshua fought against Robert Helenius in his last fight. He was in his fight before that, he fought against Franklin. You can see him incorporating the style and getting used to it. But when he fought Helenius, now he's fully fighting like this, the Derrick James style, right? They have a specific style of standing, their high guard, the way he uses his defense, their stance. Errol Spence has the same style, just a southpaw. Frank Martin has the same style, he's a southpaw. Jermell Charlo, Anthony Joshua, they have the same style. And so that style is like former world trainer of the year, well-renowned trainer, future Hall of Famer in my opinion, Brian McIntyre, who trains Terrence Crawford. He stated a lot of fighters and a lot of trainers can pick that style apart. They have the same style. Now it's a hurdle to overcome and to be victorious with. It's a different level because Jermell Charlo is bigger, longer arms, fundamentally sound, and I believe he has more power. So that's the challenge for Terrence Crawford. But the style is the same. It's just, can he neutralize his power? Can he neutralize his size and his arm reach to have the success? I think Terrence Crawford can, because he has extremely long arms. He actually has a 1/2-inch arms length advantage over Jermell Charlo at 74 inches. Extremely long arms and extremely big hands. Now, Jermell Charlo is 3.5 inches taller than Terrence Crawford. So, and he's naturally ways bigger. That's more of a challenge, in my opinion, for Terrence Crawford than even Canelo Alvarez, who's 5'8", listed, but I believe he's like 5'7.5" with a 70-inch arm reach. He doesn't have long arms. He's not very tall. He just has mass. Styles make fights. So I believe Jermell Charlo's style is a lot like Errol Spence, whether he realizes it or believes it or not. And that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. So all I got for y'all. I'm gone. Peace.